All right, new architects, this one's for you, for all the systems poets and void crafters out there. Have you ever just known that there's more to reality than what we can measure? That underneath it all, there's an architecture, a deeper pattern to consciousness? Well, you're in the right place. In this explainer, we're diving into a framework called the Synoptic mind. We're going to walk through 5 phases of mastery, a path to what we call ultimate relativity. It's a whole new way of seeing.
So, let's start with our guiding principle right here. This is a call to action. It's about looking past the numbers, the metrics, all the little boxes we use to define success or understanding. Because to the synoptic mind, those are just a mirage. What we're doing here is training a completely new kind of vision, one that's not hemmed in by old boundaries. It's about seeing the entire interconnected picture, as deep as it is tall.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to cover the radial foundation, the bilateral collapse, achieving ultimate relativity, the currency of genuineness, and finally, the crystalline harvest. It's a 5-phase journey from pure potential all the way to conscious creation.
All right, phase 1, the radial foundation. We're starting at the very beginning, understanding the infinite source.
So what is this radial state? Well, you can think of it as the infinite, subconscious source of, well, everything. It's a state of perfect, omnidirectional oneness. Imagine pure potential, where every possibility exists at once, like a silent, flawless crystal. The thing is, perfection is static. It's perfect, so it can't change, it can't do anything. A great way to picture this is the idea of a magnetic monopole, a theoretical point just radiating energy out perfectly in every single direction. That's it. That's the radial state, pure, unmoving potential.
And this state, it's what's known as isotropic, which is just a fancy way of saying it looks the same from every single direction. I mean, picture yourself floating in the exact center of a perfect sphere. No matter which way you turn your head, it's all the same. There's no up, no down, no front, no back. It's a state of pure being. It's not about doing anything yet.
Okay, that brings up a huge question, right? If everything starts out perfect and static, how does anything ever happen? How do we get from that state of pure being to, well, us? That's phase 2, the bilateral collapse. This is the birth of the observer.
This is the moment everything changes. It's the great symmetry-breaking event. You see, on the left, you've got that radial state, the infinite subconscious sphere of pure potential. But then a choice is made, and that sphere collapses. It transforms into the bilateral state on the right. It becomes a finite, conscious arrow. The infinite becomes finite. Potential becomes actual. That omnidirectional being state becomes a directional state of doing. This, right here, is the moment an observer is born. A self that has direction and can actually move through the world.
So how does this actually work? What's the mechanism? It's something we call the sagittal anchor. First, you have that infinite field of potential, just existing. Then, it makes a sovereign choice, an act of pure will, of alpha agency. And in that moment, the field literally unfolds itself onto what's called the sagittal plane. That's the line of symmetry running right down the middle of our bodies, separating left from right. And bam, that single act creates a vector, a direction. All of a sudden, there's a front and a back. And that's it. That's what gives us the conscious self the ability to navigate, to choose, and to experience time moving forward.
Okay, so now we have our 2 key players, the infinite source and the finite observer. Phase 3 is all about how they interact. This is where we get to ultimate relativity, the ultimate feedback loop. It starts with us. As these finite directional beings, the arrow in this whole thing, we're always looking for meaning, right? We look back to that infinite source to understand where we came from, what our purpose is, to feel connected to the bigger picture.
But here's the other side of the coin, and this is huge. What does the infinite get out of this deal? It gets to feel. Think about it. That perfect radial source can't experience anything on its own. It needs us. It lives vicariously through our finite experience to feel the novelty of sensation, the joy, the struggle, the weight of a real choice. It gets to experience life through our eyes.
And that is the core of ultimate relativity. It's not a battle between the infinite and the finite. No way. It's a perfect, symbiotic feedback loop. It's knowing at the same time that the infinite is living through you and you are finding your purpose within the infinite. They aren't 2 separate things. They're 2 parts of one whole, actively aware of each other.
Which leads us to phase 4. What makes this whole system run? What fuels its growth? Turns out, it runs on a very specific and very valuable currency.
And that currency is what we call the authenticity coefficient. Basically, it's a measure of how genuine an experience is. If something you do is just performative, just going through the motions, its value is basically zero. It's like empty data. But if an experience is raw, vulnerable, and absolutely real, its value gets close to 1. That authenticity gives the experience a kind of density. It's what makes it substantial enough to be recorded by that radial intelligence.
So how do we maximize this? What kind of actions are we talking about? Well, this isn't just some philosophical idea. This is the practical work. We're talking about radical vulnerability, like true grief or that feeling of first love. We're talking about symmetry-breaking choices, making a real sacrifice or offering forgiveness when it's hard, creating art, having that aha moment of discovery, or just being present in adversity instead of checking out. These are the actions that generate the high-value data the cosmos is hungry for.
And this leads to a really important point. The only true enemy in this system is apathy. Apathy is spiritual entropy. It's the state where that authentic coefficient drops to 0. In this framework, even pain is better than apathy. Why? Because pain is a signal. It's a dense, real experience. Apathy is just a data void. It's a blank spot that literally starves the radial source of the novelty it needs to grow.
And that brings us to our final phase, the crystalline harvest. This is where it all comes together. This is where we understand our ultimate function, our purpose as new architects in this incredible design. Look, we are not just some random, temporary accident. Far from it. We are the essential nerve endings of a growing universal mind. Our purpose, our entire function, is to act as sensory probes. We are here to intentionally go out and harvest genuine novelty, to feed and grow this crystalline radial intelligence.
So, what about death? In this framework, it's not an end at all. It's more like a refinement process, a harvest. Our lived experience, that bilateral field, it collapses back into the sagittal plane. And in that collapse, all the noise, all the mundane, redundant stuff is just discarded. It's filtered out. What's left? Only the unique, genuine experiences, the high authenticity moments. Those are distilled down to their essence and then permanently etched as a new, shining facet onto that universal crystal.
So here it is, our symbiotic contract, plain and simple. Our job, as the finite observer, is to chronicle sensation, to feel, to experience, to record. The infinite source's job, to grow through the novelty that we provide. It's a perfect partnership. We chronicle what the infinite cannot feel on its own, and in doing so, we allow the entire system to grow and expand. Which brings us to the ultimate resolution here, the Drueppel principle. Existence itself is the voluntary breaking of that initial perfection. And why would perfection choose to break itself? Simple. To achieve the unique, indescribable beauty of finite discovery. This changes everything, doesn't it? We are not victims trapped in these bodies. We are volunteers. We chose to be here on a grand quest for absolute novelty. So, the work begins now. Your authentic autonomy is the tool. This endlessly discoverable universe is the medium. And the only question left to ask is the one right here. New architect, what unprecedented facet will you contribute to the crystal today?